Studio 58A live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone tuning in around the world, wherever you are. We really do appreciate it. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guest. And like how we have your attention, beg you a favor now. Do the same one we always ask. Just share this video with a friend or 2 or 5,000 so we can have a very lively discussion. Now, if you're a creative person, it's a great time to be alive. Technology is moving at such a pace that allows one man in his corner to sit behind a computer to do things we used to need entire production crews to do. And not just that, because of social media, we now have a myriad of places to display our content, build our audiences, and have success. Real, tangible, financially viable success. That said, it's not as easy as it sounds. In some ways, it's even harder to build a profitable brand on social media than on traditional platforms because you are literally competing in a global space. So you have to have some kind of strategy. Here today to help us understand the strategies necessary to build a successful social media brand is Mr. Rushane Berry, or as he's more popularly known, Dutty Berry. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm very, very shocked to hear somebody from JS actually saying the word Dutty. So, yeah,
well,
I like
actually,
it.
our CEO likes to call you Dirty Berry.
Oh, Dirty Berry, yeah, I get that a lot.
That's a little more acceptable.
I get that a lot.
All right, I just say welcome. Glad to have
Yeah.
you. I'm sure the audiences would love to hear your take on this whole situation because it seems like you and maybe a few others, names that come to mind, Kevin Too Crazy and Trabas, were kind of pioneers in the social media space, at least from the Jamaican perspective, in terms of getting people to pay attention to what was going on Jamaican social media scenes, that social media personalities like yourself. So I guess the first question for me is, where did the interest come from to get into this kind of production, putting yourself on screen to entertain people, that kind of thing?
Well, initially, I think I was just on a quest to really discover if I could be somebody who, is interesting outside of just like school. Because, went to Excelsior High School, a nerd, very much I enjoyed studying, didn't go anywhere. And so, but my close friends knew that I had some sort of personality. And so I wasn't so confident to necessarily share that with them all the time. So at some point in time, I decided to say, here what, let me go and test this out online by having my own little show. And it's going to be just a few friends who would see this. When I put out my first couple of videos over time, people saw it and, the interest grew. And the next thing I know, I was starting a fan page and a YouTube page and stuff like that. So it was really a decision because I wanted to explore the other sides of my personality.
All right, and so in that quest, were you surprised that the way people reacted to you and took to the things that you found funny, the things that you found interesting, and so on? Were you surprised that people shared your interest and just basically appreciated what you were doing?
Yes, and I found it weird too. I found it weird because at some point you feel as if you're the only person who sees the world like that. Yeah. And so if you come up with a concept or you share something about when, you're at home and your mother tell you to go and do this and that, and you think it's just your mother is the only strict mother in Jamaica, and then you do a video about it and other people is like, wait, it's the same thing I go through with my mother, so like stuff like that definitely caught me off guard, but yeah.
All right, so the question now I want to do is, I'm sure you could have chosen to work for somebody. I'm sure when your platform started to take off and start to move, people probably approached you and said, Barry, you probably can come work for me and do a thing. But you seem to have chosen to walk a different path, a more independent path. Why did you choose to do that?
I think just how I am. Naturally, I am a person who goes with the flow and goes with the vibe, and I realize that doesn't necessarily work in a 9-to-5 sort of setting. But I did try. So I've been working from I was about 13, so I used to work with the National Youth Service. So I was working at the I can't remember, it's near Campion. Near Campion, anyway, that police place that's there. And I used to work at the Post General Office on South Camp Road. Yeah, and a couple other places I've worked too. So that was in me. And then just before I became the social media personality, I was working as a loans officer. Now, if you know me, it sounds random. Now, if you know me, I can't do math. I'm not good at math, but I was there processing people's loans. And well, I think I did a decent enough job, but eventually I realized that this wasn't making, I wasn't getting excited to go up and work. And then I realized that here what, the only thing I really have that literally I'll stay up all night working on was this creative space, was this, you know, coming up with videos and ideas. And that is when I could consider myself as, you know, having some sort of work ethic, because it wasn't being displayed in the 9 to 5 setting.
Okay.
So, and if I said like, wait, maybe I'm not worthless, maybe it's just not in this context, maybe I can transfer this energy elsewhere. And so, yeah, I decided to do YouTube, and I love it.
All right. So, question: Did you attend a specific university, or did you attend the University of YouTube?
No, I attended University of the West Indies.
All right.
But every time
the
I
reason
talk,
I'm asking it because this is something that people do, especially on the social media space itself. We teach ourselves.
Yes.
You learn the skills because it's like the wild west.
yeah, because I
So you're
didn't
just
know how
doing
to.
it.
I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to do anything on Photoshop. I didn't know how to really promote anything. So I had to teach myself and listen to other YouTubers. So I got advice from Travis. As you mentioned earlier, Travis was one of the persons who started out. I think the same year, but him did get him boss
A little earlier,
before I did. But he was someone who I could contact and he would pass on advice. But yeah, I would say when I attended the University of the West Indies, that was when I actually realized that I wanted to do something in the creative field. I was studying language and communication. And it was so interesting. I was going to school every day, but every day I went to school, my passion for YouTube and developing content, it grew more and more. And so when I left, I was in this position now to figure out, you know, what am I going to do with my life?
So as on behalf of our parents, what did your mother, I'm sure parents, what did your parents have to say about this? Say, mommy, I really think I'm going to do this university thing in YouTube thing there. How did your mother react to that?
My mother, like every other Caribbean parent, was not very thrilled at the idea, because I went to university to study medicine. So, yep.
I don't think many people know that.
Yeah, so no, so the whole plan was that I was bright, but not like, you know, too bright. But so I went there to the Pure and Applied Sciences with the hopes of transferring after the first year to med school. But after the first month, and I tried do it, and you have a day where you have like a day where it's just labs from 10 a.m. you know to 6 p.m. You're just in there working on like different labs, test tubes, Bunsen burner, everything. Went in there and I looked at everybody and I was like, everybody seems so, you watch like Dexter's Lab? And you saw everybody just there and like it's some Big Bang Theory type of thing, and everybody's just into it and so passionate. And I'm just there like, this isn't me. And so I did broke up a couple Bunsen burner and nearly catch a place of fire. And I thought that was my sign. So I left and then I told my mother that I'm going to leave from this, but I could have said I'll drop out of UA. So I said, here what, I'm going to leave from this and jump into a different faculty. Carmack was closed off at the time, so I said humanities. And so she was just like, okay. She was pissed, but you know, yeah.
And you never threatened for like if this no work out, you're gonna break your foot.
Oh yes, like all of that, like who.
That is who.
So that was the first, that was the first step, and then it was just like when the whole YouTube thing. My parents never know anything. How everything found out was that my mother was at her workplace. And in lunchtime, some people watch one video and hear excitement and she run come. And there's like, oh, Marcia, oh, big up mommy Marcia. I said, Marcia, come look on this. Yeah, I said, big up my mother Marcia, okay. And so she run to the lunchroom now and looking on the screen now. Everybody had thought now, she's like, wait, no, my son isn't that my son? So that's what she found out. Hid everything.
All right, checking in online. Big up Mr. Richard Portius again, one of our regular viewers. Thank you for taking the time. Elosin Smile, Elosin, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's giving you a box cover, so you have to give her one back.
Oh, box cover!
All right. Jamaica Agricultural Society, Hanover, will there be a podcast? Because here in Bushmouth, the internet's now going too good today. We're not getting all of this. Well, whoever posted this, I don't know your name, but we will be putting it up on YouTube so you can catch it afterwards. Plus, it's up on our Facebook Live right after, so you can rewatch it again here with Rushy and Dutty Berry. Now, next question I have for you is, all right, initially when you're doing something, like we say, especially if it's not something that you've studied to do, it's not something that you practiced and you've gone to school to learn. When you're doing something like creating these YouTube videos and so on, especially in the early stages, you fail a lot.
Yes.
So what are some of the failures you can talk about and some of the lessons that you learned in those early stages?
I always say that it's very funny that the series of videos that actually gave me my boss, the Tessan videos, I actually developed my voice while reviewing the voice. Like I found my own voice on social media. Because I tried so many things. Everybody's doing, you you either put on one wig or something and do one thing. And so that was a thing. I tried a couple of videos like that. And then I tried, I tried doing skits. I did parodies. I did so many different things, but it wasn't connecting. And so, but for me, I allowed myself that process. And I think in 2013, I told myself, say, here what? You have 1 year to find it. If after this it doesn't work, just hang it up and go and turn the doctor, like what your mother did say. And I gave myself 2013 and I tried everything. I started reviewing like dancehall songs. And then at some point in time, I did the skits. There was Rosie. And so I did a skit about that. Then I had these things where I would talk about like, I used my little university skill and put like 20 different Jamaican sayings and stuff. It got some amount of, but it wasn't connecting. But you see, the minute when the Tessan thing happened, that is when I realized how people connected to it. And I realized all the experiences that I had growing up, because I'm somebody who observes a lot. And you talk about JS, I watch JS like religiously.
Very good.
Like,
stop. Turn and tell everybody. Tell them that you watch JS religiously.
No, I say like growing up I watch JS religiously because it is part of the reason why. And I believe, I say it all the time, like it's one of the reasons why there are certain things that I just know. So if you talk about like politicians and you talk about like just like what is going on in the country, as a young person when I went to school, nobody knew these things. I was like, I'm the only one? How can you not know who is the opposition minister? How do you not know these things? How do you not know what measures are being put in place? I'm like, because you're 16? No, that's no excuse. And so there are a lot of things. So my references, I had a whole entire database in my brain. And so when the Tessan thing came up and I realized that everything I could really pull from and draw from. And then I decided to make it more animated because I love cartoons. So the voice changed. And so everything just kind of came together. And that is when I found that people really related to it because they liked me delivering content in a Jamaican way. And so, yeah.
Which actually brought me to another question I had for you, because in terms of the idea of being yourself versus following the trends, doing what everybody else is doing and trying to get your bus that way. How did you reconcile? I mean, you explained it in a while ago in terms of how when you arrived at that place when you're, what was the big aha moment that you realized, you know what, I'm gonna be me instead of doing what I see wearing the wig, doing this kind of video, that kind of video to get the bus. Right?
Here's what I feel: if you're new to social media, the pressure will be there to do all of these things, but you have to find yourself. But I feel in the early stages, allow yourself to try these different things and see what clicks. For one of my big things I tell everybody, after the Tessan moment happened, it was YouTube. So YouTube content, all these things. And at some point in time, the shift went to Instagram because Instagram extended from just 15-second videos to 1 minute videos and stuff. I know it was a place for the Prince Pine and all of these things. I'm somebody now, I prefer longer content, because I can get away with having people watch me for over 10 minutes. These guys now, it became this because, the attention span, new generation, it's like make it choppy in 15 seconds. So I struggled. So I went through a stage, boy. I tried to be one of these Instagram type of personalities. You put on a little skit, oh, your mother come home from, really, Marva? You do them type of stuff there. I tried that, failed. Miserably. I think I probably had probably about a 2 years past and probably only had like 3 successful sort of videos. And the people who were around me, they could see it. They could realize that this wasn't me and it wasn't working. And the whole week, something there, I tried all of that because I wanted to fit into that Instagram space. And it wasn't until I decided to look back on all my videos and the aha moments, looked and said like, here what, people will not watch these guys for probably video content over like 2 minutes, but they literally hear what I have to say. If there's a moment that happens in Jamaica, they want me to chronicle that, they want me to review it and talk about it. And that space for me is YouTube or a Facebook.
So as we just realized that the platform that best suited you and your personality was YouTube as opposed to Instagram and Twitter or some of these other ones.
Yeah.
I guess that's a lesson, right? That's a lesson you can take away. Not every platform is your platform, depending on what you do, what you like, that kind of thing. I mean, just checking on social media because we're getting in a lot of comments and a lot of people just bigging up and making them say them appreciate the work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Calvin Major Reds Cummings, a big up Dutty Berry.
Yeah.
W. Blake OB says he's entertaining. I like the dude's style. Appreciate that.
Thank
W.
you.
Blake. Gloria Amos says hi from Canada. Thank you for tuning in. Really, really appreciate that.
Big up Canada.
Patricia Roberts says you started out a med student. Wow, you are so creative. Good choice. Med student might be a little bit. But Jamaica Castor Isle. I appreciate the tuning in. Hail, may Jah be your guide. Hi from Nottingham, UK. From I hope I'm not pronouncing this wrong. Tema Ako Suwa. Tema, I hope I'm not missing it. Forgive me if anything. All right, so moving now now you've been doing this for a while. You're supposed to get a little comfortable now so you can flex your muscles and understand the game, understand what works and what doesn't work. Not even so much just what works for you, but what seems to work in a broader perspective on social media. So talk to me about your do's and your don'ts. What are some of the do's, some of your don'ts?
On social media?
Yeah.
In terms of my content?
Yeah, in terms of creating the persona and navigating the space so that you can have success with your videos and stuff like that.
I think I definitely do. For me, it's something that I'm still learning. I'm developing is to engaging with the audience because I have a thing where I try to I still want to keep certain things for myself and certain things for the audience, but I understand that when your fans, they really take on your work. They love it and they want more of it and they want to feel engaged, they want to feel a part of you. And so I think one of the definite do's is to engage your audience. So whether it be by going on live, talking to them, having that interaction, telling them about your upcoming projects that are happening, they'll be more likely, the next time they see you post something, they'll be a lot more likely to go and click it, to go and share it and share the love. A don't for me would be to be creating content that's solely that you want.
Okay.
Solely that you find interesting.
That only you find interesting.
Yes. And that's rough, because trust me, you will be so just say you're an artist and you love Callaloo. But you understand, say your market, the people who follow you, they're not Callaloo loving people. And so you'll be putting out this content, and then so when it shows on your page now, it's showing that like the insights are low and all of these different things. So it's really understanding the audience and really to cater to what they want. And next thing is the whole process of oversharing. To be very careful about that.
Explain that.
Well.
That one is a big deal. Talk to me about that one. Oversharing, and I guess people get familiar because they just think you are the persona are one and the same, right?
Yeah. Where some of this, and it's kind of rough. For example, I'm here, so I'll share that I'm here. But then I know that there are some times where you overshare to the point where people will know exactly where your mother and your father work. And so if they want to contact you, you show up there, and that puts things a little bit tricky. Or you mention that, hey, I am staying at this hotel at this time, and this is where I'm at. And sometimes you have people who not so nice, because I've been on the road already. And you hear a little dip on the road and somebody going like, oh, that are you are the so-and-so, something there. But the way them hail you is not that hail to be like, I'm a fan. It's more like, yeah, are you there right here, so right now? Oh, over there bank here you go. And you can understand, and that makes me feel a way, so I'll either like change my movements and stuff like that, but it happens. And I think another thing is to actually be consistent. Be consistent with your content. That, if it is going to be every week that you put out a video, keep it going so people know that every Monday they can look forward to a video. Because trust me, I've had some moments where I stop And when I put out a video, you just see if I'm normally getting 100,000 views, it will just jump down significantly because people want that sort of consistency where they know that you'll be here every day giving that sort of content because they find value in it. Right. So that's another thing.
I know one thing as a creative person, there are peaks and valleys in terms of there are moments when you just feel super creative and you can just create like 10 videos one after the other and everything good. Yeah. And then there's a moment where you might feel like, you know what, just feel like creative drought. I just can't I can't buy an idea for save my life.
Yes.
And
yes.
when you're trying to build build consistency with your page and so on, how you navigate a situation like that?
Whew, that is hard. That is why I think somebody told me that when I'm feeling creative, just do as many videos as you can and don't post them all at once. Just have them there and try to keep some just like saved. So in the event when you're having one of these moments where you need a sort of break, you're able to just say, okay, I have this, I can at least post this because it was already created when I was on one of my high moments. But it's rough. I go through it a lot. And I've shared it, but because I've mentioned moments, it's like we're coming up to like mental health and all these conversations happening. And so I have my moments where I really do not want to be in front of the camera. And sometimes, and
you're a person. It's a natural feeling.
And the fans, though, it's the same thing. They're just like warm to the video. Whether you're on the road, warm to the video, and then that trigger my anxiety even more sometimes because now I'm just like I can't just put out a regular video. It has to be a video that is of some sort of interest, and so navigating that is rough. And also, especially at this point in the game now where you might be working with like companies and organizations, you can't just necessarily say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling low right now, I don't have the energy, my brain is not here. You have to create. So if it is just like you have a 2-day period to create something, people not necessarily understand, mental health and all these things, you have to deliver. And so figuring that out has been a journey. But I'm getting there because at the end of the day, I do love to see the feedback. So if I remind myself of that, I'm able to snap out of it and just to put out the content. All
right. So again, guys, we're here with Dutty Berry talking about the topic of building a social media brand, taking your page from, I guess, anonymity to some popularity. Let me just check in online with persons. W. Blake OB says, I remember JIS as the only source of movie entertainment on the big screen with the mobile vehicle. That was years ago, but we appreciate the fan following. Definitely appreciate it. Nicole Bachelor Calendar said, big up, my love, all of your video them.
Oh, thanks.
Tell Nicole, thanks.
Big up, Nicole.
Right. Crystal Campbell says she's learning a lot from this. Great, Crystal. I hope you're able to use this information and build your own brand, and hopefully we'll have you in the studio soon enough that you'll be sharing your stories with the world. Gloria Amos is asking, do you still want to do stand-up comedy? And I had a question actually related to that, but tackle that question for me. Do you still want to do stand-up comedy?
Nope. Not for now. But listen, I've done it around 5 or 6 times. Had success, travel abroad and did it, and I think it went fairly well. But for me, I feel as if I still have more, like, I still have room to grow, because here's the thing. When I go up on the stage, in my mind, I expect to feel as if I'm supposed to be Kevin Hart at the same time. And so that is the sort of thing I have in my brain, or Cat Williams are these great comedians. And so when I have my moments, it's really rough to go into a space where you literally come in there to say like, yo, make me laugh. Make me laugh. And somebody who has that thing, I remember going one time, and it was one of my better performances. And I went in there to do the stand-up, and I spot one lady yarn. In my mind, as I go up on something, I'm going to see the lady yarn. See there, Jesus beam, I hit this, made the worst thing. And this lady could have just hungry. Yeah. She could have just hungry and tired. That's true. My brain, and so it's just like I realized it made me, I never know, so I could have feel so insecure until like stand up. But it has taught me a lot. But for me, at this point in time, I feel like I want to gather more life experiences, and then I jump back into it. So maybe by 2021.
Which I was wondering how you, in terms of making that pivot to know that, you know what, we try this never work, let's move away from this, because naturally it just seemed like a natural progression from being a comedian on YouTube.
Hold on. a lot of social media persons don't really understand. So it's a whole different discipline.
Yeah.
Not because you're an athlete means that you can do a 400 meter and then go do a steeplechase.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right,
or go do the long jump. It's a whole different discipline. And I'm somebody who grew up seeing a lot of these comedians and the local ones like the IT and Fancy Cat, the Pretty Boy Floyd, all of these persons. And I have like a tremendous respect for what they do. A lot of these Instagram and something, there are people that feel as if, okay, people find me funny online, I can do the same skit on stage and it's going to work, it's going to connect. No. The same mama and father joke or school joke that you do in a video, that doesn't mean it will translate on stage. And so for me, I just want to ensure that I study it and really respect the craft so that when I do it, I feel as if I'm upholding some sort of legacy.
All right, fantastic. And Joey James Suarez wants you to tell us about structuring and monetizing your brand. Maybe that's a little more difficult, but get into it. Just dive right in.
Okay, so initially I started YouTube, did a YouTube thing just for the love. At some point in time, I realized that persons were saying like, hey, monetize. I'm like, what is monetize? I have no idea. What is this? I was just doing it just for the love. And I decided to go and research because I was just like, hey, what is this word? And then I realized that on YouTube, you have to find out what is AdSense, and you have to set up an account, and what that account does is really to just send Google ads to your videos. So when you're watching a video sometime and you see the thing that says skip this ad in like 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds, that is how people on YouTube, they make their money. And so you create that account, you set it up. It's very detailed where you can collect money while you're from Jamaica, so the money comes in like I think in US.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so you collect that amount of revenue, I think like each month. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it. But a lot of persons oftentimes like contact me and they don't want to do the research, and I have to say, you have to do the research. I can't come and say everything, but the keywords are AdSense, how to monetize content on YouTube. And it doesn't have to be YouTube, it can be a blog that you're starting or anything else, but yeah.
I guess the question for me then, and I suppose for everybody else, is that, is it really profitable? Like really? Like, is it worth saying, you know what, mommy, I'm going to stop work or I'm going to stop studying, I'm going to pursue YouTube full time because I think Dutty Berry I do it for a living, so me can do it too. It must have paid my a livable wage.
I mean, here's what, I'd say yes, because this is part of the reason why I'm saying you have to be a lot more consistent, and I'm trying to ensure that I'm as consistent as possible. I've had some really good months. Once I'm something there on it, and definitely there are people in the United States who are getting probably like 50,000 US a month just off YouTube, and these are young people. And so and so in Jamaica I might not have the audience for that to like have that amount of views, but definitely livable. There are people like Fry Irish, there are people like Kevin Too Crazy, that Trabus, that I know that what they make is what is sustaining them. The part of the reason why I decided to move out was because YouTube allowed me to feel that comfortable to the point where I could move out of mommy house and have my own little situation going on.
So I mean, if you're dedicated enough, you can eat our food as we Jamaican.
Yeah, and so I would really encourage anybody who has interest in YouTube and feels as if they are creative and understands and loves content to really think about it, because when I saw it and I was just like, whoa, the first time I got a check, I had no idea. This was crazy to me. I was just like, I remember me being mind blown about the whole idea of being an entrepreneur, because I said, you go through the school system, they don't really teach you about entrepreneurship. And it wasn't until I left from you and I said I was unemployed, and my friends, they all of them are work, a bunch of them were working in call centers, and I was the only person out of the group didn't have a job for about, I think, almost 2 years. You know what that does to a young person?
Yeah, that messes with your mind.
I started to take things off my resume so I could try to get a work at a wholesale. There's a Facebook page called I Need a Job Jamaica every day. To the point, your parents come home and if them see you, if you take up the TV one day, say you watch BET, or something like that, to listen to some music, and them come home in that minute, is this you doing the entire time? And so I remember really digging deep to find something. So the minute when the bust started to happen and I realized I got a check, I was like, wow, you mean I've been sitting on this creative side all along and had no idea it could be monetized in any way, shape or form. And so when it made me think about how many talented young people that we have in Jamaica, And if they were able to understand that there might be a space for them, it might not be overnight to the point where you can probably move out and have these other things, but definitely if you do start and you are consistent, you'll be able to say, okay, I can make this amount of money where I can pay for like light bill and I can pay for this to probably go to, university. There's money in it.
All right. So, in my from where I sit, I'm just wondering about you can do a video, go viral, and it busts yeah, you know what I'm saying? But how about surviving in between these viral videos? Because you might, like I said, you might do a video and you get like 1 million views today. And then you might, because I think that is the appeal, the attraction of many persons. They just do a video, it's going to be viral, I start make money, everything going to be great. You know what I mean? You do a video, it's viral, then the audience is looking at you like, now what?
Okay.
And then how do you, what's your advice to them? Because it's really a slog, isn't it? It's not really just like an overnight success kind of thing. You have to put in the work. So talk to me about that, the putting in the work and making sure you do what's necessary to build and sustain it.
A very important point that you just raised. In 2013, the first test and video, I found it was only supposed to be one thing. I said I've never said box cover before. I've never done that entire vibe before, and so I just did that one video. When persons, because I know about the Cliff Twang and the Every Rose and everybody has their moments. I thought this was just my 1-2 seconds of some sort of highlight. Then I heard people ask for a second video. I was just like, I'm not so sure if I can develop. I just thought this was just a rare moment, and I realized I did this thing for the entire journey. I think I wrote a couple weeks. I did it for after that happened. I was just like, okay, well, I can't say I had my moment. This is it. I'm just going to go back to be a regular person. And then I remembered getting contacted, I think, and if I can't call the name now, but a company, they contacted me for, like a commercial and stuff like that.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And so when that happened, I was just like, oh, thank you so much. Ooh.
Really?
Whoa, so I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Mommy, I can't call him now.
The one time, really, my mommy is just going to something there. Mommy, you cannot call me at this point in time.
Mommy is doing an interview right now.
Okay, and so when that moment happened, I definitely was a little bit sort of, like very, very nervous. I was very unsure about what is going to happen. And I decided to say, okay, I'm going to be a part of this commercial. I'm going to be a part of this project. And so that allowed me to maintain my relevance for 2014. After that, no, it was more about branding, understand branding, and realize that is actually what's going to cement you in the culture and the space. Because my goal changed now. I didn't want to be just a little star. I wanted to be somebody who was like a nation builder and somebody who, after years, like I wanted to be like, I see myself like, if Louise Bennett, they probably born like in the 90s and stuff, she would be doing exactly what me I do.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of talk about things about stuff like that, like she'd be doing that. And so when I thought about it in that sense, it allowed me to just try to be very strategic with the sort of projects that I took on. So then you had like Dutty of Jamaica, you had, as you mentioned, like the Crown Water, you had all of these other things that piled on. And so I really appreciate that, corporate Jamaica, they saw the value in the creative online sort of art and definitely supported me. And they're still, doing stuff like that until this day. So I would say.
It brings me to our next question, which is navigating corporate, because you said a while ago that you made the conscious decision which ones you aligned your brand with, where there are persons who came to you that you said, you know what, this isn't exactly Barry's brand thing, so I might not necessarily feel comfortable associating myself with that.
Yeah, because, you have some, like, you have some party that used to come and it's like, I'm not so sure if, the wet party, it might be, might be my, but it might not be fitting for the sort of brand. And so I had to, like turn away stuff like that because I understand, so hear what. I feel as if my brand is kind of family kind of friendly for the most part. I'm growing up now, so definitely I'm going to branch out and do some other things. But I feel for the most part it should be very family friendly. And so I want to ensure that the brands that I'm a part of, that they understand that it is for like a wide audience.
All right, which actually a comment from Nicole Woolery, right? Thank you, Nicole. She's saying Barry's comedy is clean, and that's what I appreciate most. He never crosses a line or uses foul language. I love it, Barry.
Yeah.
tell our thanks.
Cause
She appreciates
yeah,
it.
I really appreciate that, but it's just me. I couldn't. I'm just not that person. I tried. You know, people get vexed, and I was like, I could never go to that level. I just not understand how it just don't step. And if I try, everybody would just like laugh. So I just said no. The cursing thing,
It's just
that
not
wasn't
your
my
thing.
thing, and it's not going to be no.
All right. Let me just run through a bag of questions that we seem to be getting. Kenyatta Fulton is asking when you're coming to the UK.
I think you have to talk to management.
All right.
Yeah.
Candice Kristen, do you have plans to move into blogging?
So blogging,
Yeah.
that's the writing part.
I guess.
Actually, I tried everything. So before I had the YouTube channel, I actually had a blog called the Berry Show. It was on WordPress.
Yeah.
And the first time I got any bit of a highlight, it was a blog that I did, and it was about me trying man, and it was about the top 20 Jamaican public figures who age well, and I think
okay.
Neville was on it.
I feel like I saw that before
Neville
at some
Bell was
point.
on it, and I remember the day being at home and somebody like tweeted it to Neville Bell, and he mentioned it on the morning show, and I remember Simone like mentioning my name and stuff. So that I had a blog. I had a blog, and at
But
some
it
point I
seems
decided to just like
all right.
park it.
Ricardo Porsche is asking, you can try to get your comedies on TVG and CVM television. I guess mainstream local media. I guess are you comfortable in that space? Or you see yourself moving into the mainstream platform? I guess a la IT and Fancy Cat, that kind of thing.
I mean, if you have a conversation with my manager Corv, who's probably around there, looking at me very sternly, I think around there he would tell you that he's definitely trying to get my brain in that direction. But yeah.
Well, it seems like there's an audience. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If the people are asking for it.
Yeah.
Ricardo Porsche saying, keep up the great job.
Thank you.
Jen says, trying to get used to Barry's normal voice.
Oh yeah, get used to it. Get used to it.
More people are to hear. Joey and McFarlane is asking, do you ever feel pressured to do solely Jamaican-centered content?
Yes. Yes. Because that is where I want to grow and do some other things. But it's you don't want to neglect an audience that really just loves the Jamaican content that you deliver. And so I have done stuff where I've tried to use less patois, less Creole. And boy, I did a countdown one time and people were just like, I want this stuff. And so I was just like, this is weird. But I've also done videos that have done really, really well. Like some years ago, Kanye West did a song with Tiana Taylor. And I spoke about it. And that video got, I think, probably about over 400,000 views on YouTube. And a lot of the comments were from non-Jamaicans, and so I was just like, wait, so okay, I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe I'll start a different channel that focuses more on international topics, but I'm thinking about it.
All right, as we kind of come down, because we've been here a while, we generally don't, but I mean, if the people are asking the questions, that means they're interested, so I have a problem with that. But where do you see yourself? Where, in terms of where you think you can, your career trajectory is going to take you, where do you see yourself as you sit here right now?
I'm saying these things, just
Speak it into being.
I have to say it right now, so then in a couple of years' time, when Studio 58A can pull up the file
first.
and say it, so let me just say it now. All right, a couple of years' time, I see myself like probably being around like 6'1". I see that sort of happening.
Seriously?
We're just working field. Like anything is possible.
Why not?
Around like 6'1", I see myself having my own show.
You already have your own show.
No, but I feel like at a different level. I want my own show where, in the same way how when people go to the United States and they'll want to go to like The View and stop into an audience, I'd want the same sort of effect where people come to Jamaica and they get excited to come and buy a ticket to come into the show and be a part of the live audience. And so I'd want to have a show like that. I also would want to be somebody who is adding value to the culture, because I say like a nation builder. I really would love an opportunity over the years to come where, what is the event? I think it's further down in the year where you go and collect your
you mean National Honors and Awards?
National Honors and Award. every year now every year listen to Faye Ellington and I practice my little walk, I go up there and so start practicing. And hopefully one day, putting it out in the universe, I can collect something for like contribution to like social media or something like that. Because that would be a new territory. So it's still, like, when that time happened, I'd love to be in that position where somebody can look up and say, here what? When them tell for them parents and say, here what? Mommy, I'd love to be a social media personality, a YouTuber. That the mother can say, go, that's a good field for you to be in because I've seen the impact of Dutty on the culture. So go forward and do that. Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, let me touch on something I had written down. I wanted to ask you. Copyright issues. Say a word on that. In terms of using, I mean, it's a real issue. When you're creating and building your page, you have to be mindful of.
Yes.
You can't just steal people content. It don't work like
yes.
that. You know what I'm saying? Just touch on that. That is a very useful lesson, I think, especially the younger children might appreciate.
That's major. That is major.
Yeah.
I've got some warnings already. Because I have to understand that you can't, if you're going to take a clip, you can't be an entire clip that you take, featuring somebody else's work. You have something called fair use that you're able, if it's going to be in a review style, you're able to use a small portion of a clip. So, for example, if I'm referencing something, I can use a portion, and that is, good under law. But it cannot be that you just like upload directly stuff. You do not mention anything. You have to be, your video will get taken down. And so I've been in that position even some time ago, just mentioning. I think I did a video about Movado, and it wasn't. And actually, the company reached out because I had spelled the name as the watch.
Right,
yes,
right.
And so they sent a message and say, hey, we're going to ask you to change this because of stuff. Yada yada yada. There's sometimes you use a song. The Sony Records or whoever might send a message and say, here what, you have the option on YouTube to either we mute it or we keep the sound up, but that money goes to Sony Records and stuff. So you have these different things that you have to figure out. But it's a huge thing. So don't go around just using people's content willy-nilly.
So you hear that,
you
guys?
lose your channel.
All right, you lose your channel, you use your revenue stream, and it don't work. All right, so let me just check online and see if any more people have questions for you. Well, mostly people begin up saying, Barry, you have the potential.
Oh, thank
Ricardo
you.
Portia saying you can do an interview and profile with Antife. Maybe when you reach there, you can ask her for
I want them something there, but I feel like I have to have a story though. Like, I have to talk about like 1 foot of shoes and something like that. Like, it feel like a good profile story. Like, we can't talk about the Portmore stuff.
Yeah, you can talk about the 2 years when you never did the work and if you yes. and all that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, like it has to have that. Yeah.
Chris Dixon says potential and great smile. Smile again for say that. Joanne McFarlane says, how many social media platforms do you actively use and can manage on your own? So like Joanne seriously wants to know the full 100, like I'm serious.
Okay, so I'm on YouTube. It is The Dutty Show. YouTube.com/The Dutty Show. Go and subscribe to me. I'm trying to head to the 200,000 subscriber mark. That would be a big deal for me, so go and subscribe. On Twitter, it is at Dutty Show. I think I'm also on Snapchat. That's Dutty.berry. I'm also on Facebook, Facebook.com/The Dutty Show. Where else? Twitter. I've been on Twitter for a minute, but Twitter took a little a moment for me to figure out. But now I'm enjoying it. So do go and follow me on Twitter at Dutty Show. Yeah. So I think it's around like 4 or 5. It's okay. It's a lot. Right. It's a lot because you have to communicate differently on each platform.
Definitely, which is why it's so important to find the platform that best suits you and your personality and what you're able to do.
Yeah, so this is Facebook.
So this is, one question from Jen, which is
Jen.
Barry, soon we'll see you guest appearing or starring in an American sitcom. That's her prediction. Speak it into being.
Yes.
Say you receive it.
I receive it. Speak it into being. Going to the Met Gala. All of them look at something there.
All right, I was going to ask just one last question, but this is a good one from Joanne McFarlane. Again, he says, I love the work addressing mental health that you're doing with my brother, Jemar McFarlane. Thanks for that.
Yes.
Right, so, I mean, as you said, everybody goes through their peaks and valleys. Even those of us who we think are most creative and most energetic and so on go through it. And as Barry has shared, it's been very important to just talk about it and get it out there. But let me not talk about that. Let you talk about that to the people.
Yeah, and so I've been the person who has often just figured that, hey, I can manage everything. Like, I don't consider myself somebody who is very emotional because I think that that's a sign of weakness. But when people around you can recognize that something is wrong, they literally see me getting low. And so people don't understand the amount of energy that it takes for you to give yourself to people. I remember like going to a show and you're there hosting or you're performing or you're meeting with fans, and it might be for a 3-hour period. When you get home, just think about like you're like a phone that is fully charged. You literally all the energy because you've been giving it. And so you're just like, I need somebody to like, just like send back some sort of energy. And with this sort of lifestyle, it has to be going. So you do one event, you're drained, you go to another one, you have to wake up in the morning. And so at some point I got through these spells where I just don't want to see anybody. I just want to stay home and I don't want to see, I will not eat. And I couldn't understand what was happening. And being forced to reintroduce myself to people sometimes, my anxiety, I immediately just like, who are you? Why are you here? Like, why you have to be around you? And so I thought that was just like odd. But then having, these conversations and hearing celebrities, in the States share about their insecurities and how that has been impacting their mental health, it gave me a sort of a space where I could recognize my own and be like, hey, Rod, I think it's time for me to share this with my audience. So when Patrice contacted me about this story that she was having going into schools to talk to young people, I was just like, it is important, because I remember those days where I tell people it is a fact that I have a gift that saved me. Because I remember days where everybody around you could identify their film talent. And so, at 13, when everybody find out which era of life they were going to go into, and you're the one person who hasn't figured it out yet, and you're like, what is it? What am I? I'm this person who, when I jump into the room, nobody don't remember me when I was in like high school. I'd be that person if you come from a field trip and everybody say, everybody not the bus? Yeah, man, everybody gone, and I'd be left there. Like nobody, I wasn't that something there person. And so I remember contemplating like suicide and stuff. But you know what? Okay. But you know what kept me? It was before the fact I couldn't see myself committing suicide and denying myself from having my dream fulfilled. Like I wanted my own show. And so every time that thought would come, I'd be like, yeah, but the idea of like doing something like this and not seeing that goal being realized, I couldn't do it. And so I tell every person out there, whatever the situation, whether it's bipolar, depression, anxiety, all these stuff, you understand how life is, especially growing up with your parents, and sometimes they might not be equipped with understanding how to address these issues with young people, because apparently sometimes young people would not have no problem. Everything good. What more could you be bothered by? I'd have to say, like, just sometimes like find the spaces that you feel comfortable to share. And also identify something that you're good at. Find a goal, because your goal might be a savior. Because that is that one thing that you literally cannot see yourself leaving the earth without fulfilling. So try to identify the talent, the God-given talent, the things that are innate to you. And that will allow you to heal and allow you to grow and to develop yourself.
I don't think I need to add anything or want to add anything more to that. I think that was beautifully said. I think a lot of persons would have been healed or really appreciate what your candor and your ability to just share your innermost thoughts just like that. I think people really appreciate that. I think it's time for us to move to wrap. I'll just share one more comment from Don T, who says, I admire your work. Please keep up the great work. Oh, by the way, the gap in your teeth, I love it.
Oh, I'm going to close it one time,
Apparently not. And Patricia Bravo saying, Dutty Berry, it's a long time I don't hear you, but it's a pleasure hearing you and seeing you today. So there's a lot of love and appreciation, as we already knew, but thank you again for tuning in, everybody. It is time for us to wrap. Thank you to every single one of you who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in questions and comments. And if you send in a question and we didn't get to answer it, or a comment, or we didn't get to reach it, not to worry, we can go back through and feed them to Barry again, or just say your social media handles so people can follow you.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It is at Dutty Berry Show. Please, especially on Instagram and Twitter, because I'm using it a lot now. And on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Dutty Berry Show. For bookings, it is duttyberryshow@gmail.com.
Right now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We do this every Thursday live on Facebook. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis. This has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful day.